Welcome back to Black News Tonight. It is time to take a look at what's happening out here in these digital streets. Canada's very own Drake wins big at last night's 2021 Billboard Music Awards, taking home top honors as Billboard's Artist of the Decade. Drake, accompanied by his son Adonis, shout out to Pusha T, proudly accepted the award, which was presented to him by his OVO label team. To date, Drake has released 6 studio albums and has, quote, more hits than the Beatles, as he holds rank as the highest certified digital singles artist, having sold over 170 million records. Though this may seem premature to some non-Drake fans, they shall remain nameless. Congrats are nonetheless in order to the sixth god. Drake has been on everything the last 10 years. I remember traveling through the Middle East and hearing people singing Drake songs. People that didn't even speak English were singing Hotline Bling. They were singing, what's the other one? The sing song. All the songs are sing songy, but they were singing that one too. They loved him some Drake around the world. Every feature he does is fire. The albums, yeah, you know, they're good. I still am old head status and feel like he doesn't have the classic album equivalent to Illmatic or The Blueprint. But for this generation, he's made some pretty big hits. Drake has sold enough records. He's had enough singles. He's been the most visible artist. And remember, the Billboard Award is not for necessarily the person with the subjective analysis. It's about records sold. Because if you ask me, the artist of the decade is Beyonce. To me, there's no doubt about that. There's nobody more significant on the global stage than Beyonce. But if we're talking pure records sold and the amount of content he puts out, it goes to Drake. So even though I don't think Drake is number one in my mind, he's definitely a solid number 2, and he definitely deserves this award. Shout out to Drake, a very, very talented artist who I actually like a great deal. Let's move on, because in more music news, it looks like Bow Wow and Soulja Boy might be going head-to-head in a Verzuz matchup, and fans couldn't be more excited. Over the weekend, Soulja Boy, a.k.a. Big Draco, took to Twitter to confirm the news, which Bow Wow later retweeted on his own account. Verzuz founder Swizz Beatz and Timbaland have yet to release a public statement about the matchup, but that isn't stopping Bow Wow and Soulja Boy from throwing playful jabs at each other on social media as the pair continues to promote the highly anticipated battle. Highly anticipated battle seems to be an extravagant overstatement, but I'm glad that people like it. I'm glad that people want to see it. I'm glad that it's going to be hopefully well viewed. I always want to see Verzuz do well. I personally think that Bow Wow has more hits than Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy has a couple bigger hits, but when you go into the depth of the catalog, I think Bow Wow might pull it out. But it will be an interesting battle to see. Let's move on to another story. I think we got one more in there. Black News Tonight. Y'all got another story for me? No, another story. Not that one. We already said all that. Can we get another story? Come on. We got another story. Yes, we got another story. Yes, we got another story. And former BBC journalist Martin Bashir is back in the hot seat. The Jackson family is reportedly considering legal action against Bashir for allegedly tricking Michael into doing the infamous 2003 documentary Living with Michael Jackson. Michael's nephew claims Bashir's reporting for ITV was unethical and that footage had been manipulated. He also blames Bashir for Michael's death in 2009. Bashir had spent several months with Michael for the doc, which focused heavily on his relationship with young boys and even sparked a criminal investigation. Jackson was acquitted of all criminal charges in 2005. Look, there's a lot of conversation about whether Michael Jackson did it or he didn't. I'm not going to get into that on air because I think that needs to be properly litigated and adjudicated, and some of it already has. But Martin Bashir asked Michael Jackson some pretty straightforward questions, and Michael answered them. And as Chris Rock reminded us years ago, Michael answered some pretty softball questions pretty poorly. Michael has to take accountability for that. The family, I understand that they're in pain because Michael Jackson died. We're all in pain because Michael Jackson died. His death was tragic, it was awful, and it was entirely preventable. But I'm not blaming that on the journalist for asking tough questions. Now, if you say he edited the footage, show me that. If you show me that he did the wrong thing, give me the proof. But until then, I'm not blaming the journalist on Michael Jackson's death, and I'm not blaming anybody for Michael Jackson answering those questions the way he did, except Michael Jackson. Y'all stay with me. A little bit more Black News after the break. I want to let you know something before I let you go.